Hello, fellow modeling enthusiasts, and welcome to the first episode of the Mediocre Modeler Show. This will be sort of a catch-all and behind-the-scenes extra bonus content for the Mediocre Modeler, Mediocre Modeling Studios, as well as the Spacemen with Guns podcast. I've got a few ideas of some interesting things to try in the future, some painting tutorials, tips, tricks, techniques, product reviews, possibly even some battle reports if things work out. This is very much a shaky fly-by-night operation. So we'll just kind of play things out and see what we get. So thought to start things off, we'd take a little review of a interesting product, the Trenchworx M3 Scout Car. I recently picked this up at Adepticon just about a week or so ago. I did buy this at a 50% discount on the Sunday of Adepticon at the Trenchworx booth. So we'll just kind of take a little look at what all is included in the box, and then we'll see how it painted up. So let's head on down to the bench. All right, we're on down to the bench here. And as you can see here, we've got this nice cardboard box and label letting you know you have the white Scout Car from Trenchworx, trenchworx.com. Looks like this model has been around for a little while. I did actually take the price tag off, but again, I did get this at a 50% discount. And then tore it open with my fingernail on the drive home from Adepticon just to see what all was included. So first thing we'll take a look at, we have a nice instruction sheet. Just printed off on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper for those here in the States. You can kind of see our first breakdown here is all the different parts that are included. You've got a single piece casting of the main body, which was actually very, very well done. I was really impressed with the casting quality. There's a few minor mold slippages, but you kind of just have to expect that. A little bit of MIG arming putty took care of that without too much difficulty. You get the 4 wheels. You got your rear axle, your front axle, your unditching roller that goes in the front there, as well as your weapon loadout. So you got your Mondeus 50 cal, you've got your M1917 water-cooled 30 cals, or you can use your air-cooled M1919s. And we'll take a look at just what I did with mine. Then, of course, we go into our instructions here, where basically you put the wheels on your axles, glue the axles into the nice slots in the bottom, and then from there, you go ahead and put on your trench roller, as well as your weapon options. Now, it might have been a bit of an Adepticon special, but I had some extras included, and we'll kind of take a look at this. Some of them, of course, are on the model. Since I've actually already completed the model, it's going to be kind of tough to talk about some of it, but we can talk about in a little bit. So, as you can see here, we've got the white metal castings of our 50 cal, our 2 water-cooled 30s, and then our 2 air-cooled 30s. Castings are very well done. I've kind of learned to appreciate white metal a little bit more over the years, ever since, Games Workshop went away from it. The only kind of, not necessarily disappointing, but opportunity for improvement, let's say, which you can do on your own very easily. None of the 30 cals actually have ammo cans or ammo feeds to them, which is a pretty simple fix. But also included in mine were some 3D printed details. Now, Trenchworx is known for their 3D prototyping and casting. So we did actually have on this little build plate here, resin copies of the 2 axles, as well as the Mondeus and the 1917s, and then of course you got the 3D printed M1919s. You can kind of compare them a little bit side by side. The white metal ones are just, I think, a little bit beefier, but the detail is still pretty good. The detail is really nice and fine on these 3D printed ones. I also did receive a set of 3D printed crew. So we have a driver, a sort of co-driver, whatever you want to call it, and then 2 passengers that actually ride in the back of the Scout Car. I've always kind of had an affinity for the M3 Scout Cars, even though they weren't as popular as the M2, M3, M5 half tracks. I just think they look cool. Just a car bristling with guns. I think it has something to do with a 1/35th scale Hobby Boss model kit that I purchased and never completed. So, without any further ado, we'll go ahead and take a look at the finished Trenchworx M3 Scout Car. So it's about a week's worth of work from build to paint on this, you can see here. Painted up very nicely. This was an absolute joy to do. And you can see there's quite a fair amount of detail. We've got our pioneering tools, some jerry cans, toolboxes here on the sides, all of this great rivet detail. And you can take a look at the front. We've got those engine louvers, which I always think it looks cool when you get national insignia on those. So I actually took a star decal and segmented it and put it on there. And see here on the other side, again, we've got our jerry cans, some more of our pioneering tools. And then on the rear here, I saw that rivet detail, a couple little spots for those formation lights as well. And then you see the interior. You've got all of these seats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passenger seats in the back. And then you've got your driver over here, and then our passenger up here. And then, of course, our weapons. We've got our Ma Deuce up there in the front on the skate rail, and then along the sides, we've got those M1917s. Now, this was painted using just a simple olive drab scheme, starting out with a base of olive drab dark from Ammo MIG, and then followed on with the olive drab base, and then the olive drab light base. I think those three work together to form a pretty nice gradient there. Most of the weathering is just from the combination of those paints, and that 50 barrel kind of needs to be smoothed out a little bit, straightened out, but that's okay. Build went together without any problems. You can see just some minor little issues with casting, but that's to be expected. Of course, once it was painted in all the minor details then we did it in a oil wash using some Winsor & Newton Artist oils, a couple of different pigments from Vallejo, and then just a little bit of Vallejo Iraqi sand airbrushed down in the bottom there to get the look of some dried mud. See if we can't get a little bit of closer look at the crew figures here in the back. I think they're very well done. Very much heroic scale, but the detail is very nice. I know organics are kind of new to Trenchworx, but I think they've done a pretty good job for gaming pieces. It's kind of tough to see the faces of our crew there. That's not too bad. There, our driver looks kind of grumpy. Our passenger's a little tougher to see. The only thing that I kind of did with it to make some minor modifications, just to add a little bit of extra detail, was adding our ammo boxes on our 1917s there. And those were actually some ammo cans, 1/100 scale ammo cans from some Flames of War accessories, as well as the water cans. Kind of use my tweezers here. We've got one here is just a jerry can, and then the big one here is a group of several jerry cans. And then, of course, adding the tubing was just done with some silver solder, painted that black because it is nice and malleable. It just kind of gives it a little bit of extra detail. Something kind of fun to do, just a little extra detailing to just kind of help it pop a little bit. And of course, you could add some extra stowage and everything to it. But yeah, this is one of those things where I kind of pushed the envelope a little bit. Kind of wanted to see, what I personally could do with one of these Trenchworx kits, because I do have several more that I purchased from Adepticon, and odds are we'll be purchasing more from them in the future. It's really cool, especially at events at Adepticon, where you get to meet and chat with the people that are making these products and just kind of find out, what their inspiration is, and just kind of find out a little bit more about their process. Just kind of makes it just a little bit more personal. The markings on this are all from the Flames of War American decal sheet. So these are actually all 1/100 scale decals, or 15 millimeter decals. The stars are all fairly simple, but the serial number up here was actually, a few numbers were cut off so we could get one starting with 6, because typically armored cars, scout vehicles like this, I believe, at least from the reference photos that I could find, all started with a 6 for the serial number. So this was, a really fun project. Not perfect, but definitely something that I am very, very proud of, very happy with the end result of this little build. Now, my original intention was to buy it because it was cool, but I don't think I can actually use it for the game that I want to, because I want to get into Conflict 47, sort of the sci-fi weird war branch of bolt action, but they don't have rules for the M3 Scout Car. So this is just going to kind of be a display piece, which is why putting in some of this extra detail, like the ammo cans and the water cans on the machine guns were worth it, because this thing won't be on a tabletop much unless I start playing bolt action. But it should be pretty nice display piece. We could take a look around the bench and look at some of the other projects, but I don't want to necessarily scare anyone, so we'll just kind of take a look on up here. You can see back there we've got a number of different things. We've got some Totem Core. We've got a Coyote Walker that's just getting a new base. The Spine Mech is getting its base is finished. I just need to glue it on. We've got our Killer there in the blue with the potato sack over his head for Don't Look Back from Blacksite Studios. We'll definitely be taking a look at that a little bit later on. We've got some figures from Gloom Trench, some Solar Auxilia, and then over there we have all of our heroes for Don't Look Back, as well as a Tamiya 148 scale KFZ 222 Scout Car project that I started and just haven't quite gone anywhere yet. There, of course, we have 5 armored infantry, U.S. infantry. These guys have been a lot of fun to work on so far. Again, being white metal, they've just been a lot of fun. We'll kind of take a look at one of these real quick here. So this is sort of our squad leader. We'll go ahead and zoom on out here. Or not. See if he'll come into focus there. But again, 28 millimeter. It's been a fun process using the same olive drab colors as the Scout Car. Working on just some different skin tones, some decals from a company called Company B Models. So we've got the 2nd Infantry Division, as well as we've got our American flag there, and then some rank insignia on the front of each of them. So our 1st sergeant there. Solar Auxilia Flamer section for our Vanguard squad. That is something I started quite a while ago. I need to finish up. But we'll get there. We will get there. An M18 Hellcat, again, for Conflict 47. And there is the new base for the Spine Mech. Well, that's going to about wrap us up for this very first episode of the Mediocre Modeler Show. As you can see, we've got quite a few different projects on the bench. Those are all personal projects. At the moment, having just returned from Adepticon, I do not have any commission jobs, which is okay. I'm really enjoying painting my own stuff, although I will get back into the commission game here before too long. So most that have followed me for any amount of time know that I'm primarily a Horus Heresy player, and I've decided that this year I'm going to take more time to explore other games. You can see I've got a lot of historical stuff with the Gloom Trench and Conflict 47. I've got some Blood and Valor that I want to start working on, more Flames of War, lots of other games from some other great games from other great game companies out there that we're going to take a look at. But we'll also be exploring some Horus Heresy. So I hope you enjoyed this inaugural episode. We'll hopefully have more. We'll just kind of see when they come out and what they're going to be covering, but they should be a good time, and hopefully it turns out to be worth the watch. We'll see how things go. So until next time, folks, may your paints be thin, your brushes be pointy, and your dice roll 6s.